Welcome to Melt. I'm Suresh Venkat. We have two parts to the show today. The first part of today's show is a deep dive into L'Oreal. The French beauty products company has been thriving with a record growth of 16.1% last fiscal, and that's twice the growth rate of the worldwide beauty market. And what role does marketing play in driving this growth? To find out, we spoke to Asmita Dubey, Chief Digital and Marketing Officer at L'Oreal in Cannes. So without further ado, let's get ready to melt with Asmita Dubey. Asmita, give us a sense of how L'Oreal has been doing.
Yeah, sure. Hi, we are global leaders in beauty. We have published our Q1 2022 results, and we have been outperforming the market because L'Oreal is a unique company. We are the only ones with such a balanced portfolio of brands and geographical footprint. We invest about 1 billion euros in R&I, and we have 4,000 researchers. So innovations, they help us to navigate the turbulence, and they help us to also ride the waves of recovery better. We are here at the Pan, and there are so many waves. So post the pandemic, if you see, there has been a return of color in beauty and in fashion. There is a return of an appetite for social interactions, and that means a makeup boom and an acceleration in fragrance category. So to give you an example, the makeup category, the market grew by 8% in Q1 2022, and we outperformed the market because we grew by 14.4%.
And digital is clearly a key component of this. So what does digital transformation mean for a company like L'Oreal?
We are digital first in all our endeavors. We believe that we are pioneering marketing in the digital age as well as beauty tech, because we are bringing new products and services that are inclusive, that are personalized, and they are sustainable. To us, the digital world, is moving from, I would say it is moving from products to services. And we have a lot of examples there. It is moving from digital transformation to data transformation now. It is moving from digitalization to virtualization. And it is also moving from offline plus online, which is O plus O, to offline plus online plus on-chain, which is O plus O beauty journeys in the Web3.
Okay. All said and done, it's still a physical product. Beauty products are physical products, and physical touchpoints continue to remain critically important for your business. So how does this whole digital subsystem enable the physical system?
You're absolutely right. We believe that the future of beauty will be physical, digital, and virtual, And let me give you an example of Lancôme on how we are envisioning the future of retail. Yeah. And we were at Vivatech 2022, and we unveiled a lot of such, innovations in beauty tech that I'm going to share with you. So at a physical level, what we did was we announced a Lancôme Absolute Dual LED treatment. Yeah, it is based on the patented light therapy, formula, and it dispenses a luxury skincare formula for each individual. So that is what is bringing new devices and services at the point of retail. There are other things like Skin Screen. Skin Screen is a device which does skin diagnosis. It does it on the point of sale at retail. But the same device is also available as a digital service because it uses like 15,000 different digital images of people, and then it is available as a service online, so it uses artificial intelligence and data around all of that. There is another example similar on foundations. It's an age-old problem to find the right foundation. So we have devices like shade finders today, which are available at the point of sale in the retail, but they are also available as digital services. And the Lancôme Shade Finder, it can detect up to 22,500 shades. And the last one, I would say, in the same theme of physical, digital, and virtual, if you look at the Lancôme, we are also enabling virtual experiences of the store. So there is a virtual experience of the store. If you can't be there, you can go on the website and experience the same thing virtually.
All said and done, it's still a touchy-feely business. Makeup, trial, skin, touching, color. What does the customer expect on this digital journey?
I mean, consumers are offline and online, right? So consumers are expecting the best experiences in this beauty consumer journey, and we are elevating it. We are elevating it both offline and online, and we are making it easy for them, in terms of convenience and choice everywhere. So whether it is a distribution channel, So we have presence in all distribution channels, offline and online, and that is a bet that we took 10 years ago, and it is paying off because we understand that it will be online and offline. Consumers are experiencing also, they also seek trust and authenticity. And we are offering to them digital twins of our product. So for example, you can take a product like La Roche-Posay, there's a QR code there, and we can scan it and find out what is inside our products today. That brings transparency and long-term trust-based relationships. Everything we do is physical, digital, and virtual because our consumers are online and offline.
Soon you're going to have twins of consumers as well online. You're going to have digital avatars of physical customers. But let's move on to another subject. Hairdressers were the original beauty influencers for companies like L'Oreal, and L'Oreal in particular has had very deep relationships with the salon industry.
Yeah.
Now, has this relationship changed because we see social media influencers, beauty influencers? Do the hairdressers feel a little left out, or how is it working now?
The professional product division, is like transforming exponentially. It is digitalizing, and the pandemic has been a catalyst there. I will give you an example of what we are doing, and then there's great work we are doing in India there. So if you look, we use social media and online activities, and we have presence of our brands there. But the purpose of that is to drive traffic to the salon. So there is an online activity, and it is driving traffic to the salon, which is very much an offline place. When the consumer reaches the salon, they can scan a QR code and avail offers. So that is again an online activity in that offline space, which is a salon. Once they scan the QR code, they're availing a service. The service is still offered to them physically at the salon. So it's an offline activity. And once they finish, we build a long-term relationship with them, with consumer relationships, management, etc. So all through this journey, everything is naturally offline plus online. And I'll give you an example of India, where we are offering expert salon care program. The expert salon care program is all about enabling hair salons and hair stylists to have deeper relationships with our consumers. And by doing so, it's a new model of social commerce. So through this new model, the consumer can get professional products, availability of the professional product. They can book a salon through that. They can even do a consultation with their hairstylist just through the platform. So it is actually deepening our relationships in many, many ways.
Continuing on the same thread, what has been your experience with technologies like AR and VR? On one hand, they are fancy tools, and you could get caught up in the tooliness of the tool itself. On the other hand, they can drive things like social commerce, for instance.
Yeah.
What has L'Oreal experience been?
Augmented reality, we started early. We've been pioneers in what you call AR beauty. What we did was we acquired a company called Modiface, and Modiface was an AR company. With that, we started scaling AR beauty, which is virtual makeup try-ons and virtual hair color try-ons. So virtual makeup try-ons and virtual hair color try-ons, it is extremely convenient for the consumer, because imagine you're on the shelf or you're on the website and you want to try a disruptive new color like a purple or something. We always hesitate to do that. But because we can augment that reality, and with a very good quality of rendition, you can see for yourself that how that color is going to look on you. And that brings a huge, that's a huge personalization. And we have scaled it, and there is two things that it does. First, it brings deeper engagement with the consumer. So over these years, we have had more than 1 billion try-ons. That gives you a sense of scale. We are deploying these services everywhere. We have deployed it on 35 brands in more than 100 countries. There are more than 1,200 deployments. We have even deployed them to about 50 retailers. So retailers are using it also. So there's a deeper consumer engagement we create. They spend more time on it. And also with the retailer and on our D2C website, we see better conversion, because it is about convenience and choice. You know what you could buy and experience it so much more. So for sure, there is a very tangible, offering to the consumer we are bringing with AR.
And 1 billion try-ons is no easy number. It's a lot.
1 billion try-ons, not 1 billion number of people, but 1 billion try-ons.
That's still a lot.
It's a huge
considering there are only 7 billion people on this planet.
Yeah.
So imagine that there's been 1 billion times that people have tried.
1 billion times, absolutely.
You used a very interesting word earlier on in the interview. You said on-chain, right? And I think that clearly refers to Web3. So many marketers are confused. What is Web3?
I'm going to try to share how we perceive it and what we are thinking. And to talk about Web3, I think first we should understand what is Web2. Web2 is all about live streaming, video, AI, machine learning, voice, cloud, SaaS, data, automation. Yeah? And all that of Web2 is very much in deployment everywhere in the world. Then there is a new digital reality that is permeating our lives, and that digital reality we have given a branding called Web3. So Web3 started with gaming. Then it started using new technologies like AR, and we just spoke about AR. It is moving to VR. It is fundamentally using blockchain, spatial computing, and which is then getting into virtual identity, virtual avatar, virtual products or collectibles. So all that is becoming Web3. And therefore, what we are saying is that we are going to explore this Web3. And our vision of that is on-chain beauty. On-chain beauty is our vision of how beauty would be on the blockchain. And we are exploring that on-chain beauty, but with our feet firmly grounded in Web2 acceleration.
So Asmita, if we were doing this interview 10 years from now, what will we be talking about on-chain beauty? What questions would I be asking you?
I think there is a lot of people who are building, the Web3 and the metaverse and how the future of this would be. I can share with you how we are beginning to think about what beauty should be there, and probably give you one or two examples. So the way we are approaching the on-chain beauty, today, with everything that we know today in terms of these technologies, we are approaching it first with our roots in the brand DNA. Because we have fantastic brands, and we are doing a brand mapping in the metaverse because different brands are at a different phase. Second, we are looking at it from a prism of community, because the Web3 values are also about decentralization and community empowerment. We are very excited about more immersive experiences in beauty, because beauty could be moving from 2D to 3D beauty. So what is that 3D beauty is what we are thinking about. Then we are thinking about virtual. That what is virtual influence, virtual avatars, virtual spaces, virtual products and collectibles in the future. And all these needs new kind of partnerships. So we are thinking about partnerships in Web3. And they're very new kind of ecosystem, new diverse players. So I can give you an example of that. One of our brands, NYX Professional Makeup. So NYX Professional Makeup, the DNA of the brand, it is all about makeup artistry. It's about entertainment. It's about community. And the brand has been pioneering social beauty and Instagram, over these years. So the way NYX Professional Makeup is exploring Web3 is they are going to be the first ever decentralized record label for creators in Web3. When we are saying record label for creators, it's almost like being the first beauty DAO. These decentralized autonomous organization. That means that the brand would be interacting with there are so many 3D artists who are doing work on face and beauty. They'd be working with those. They'd be working with animators, software engineers, blockchain experts. NYX Professional Makeup will be working even more with marginalized communities. The brand is already doing a lot of work there. And just this month, we announced that there is a partnership between new players. So I was talking about People of Crypto. It's a new creative lab which wants to build a very inclusive metaverse. People of Crypto, Sandbox, and NYX Professional Makeup. They have come together and they're launching more than 8,000 avatars, which are kind of representative of the whole world and bringing inclusivity in the metaverse.
So you're a beauty business, you're a data business, you're a content business, and now perhaps a music label and a record label?
Record label for creators, for communities, for people who are working in beauty, for empowering all of them.
Asmita, let me ask you a couple of personal questions.
Yeah.
Prior to this role, your previous role was in China, which everybody admits is one of the most complex markets in the entire world. Right? I'm fairly certain you don't speak too much Chinese.
Itian.
A little
that
bit.
means a little. I speak a bit of Chinese. I had the opportunity to spend almost 12 years in China. So we moved to China in 2005, and in 2017 I moved to Paris in our headquarters. It's true that in 12 years and in even now you see so much transformation. transformation of a very large population. It was a younger population, so digital adoption was fast. There was great infrastructure support that was coming in. People were ready to try new things, whether it is e-commerce or social commerce or social in general. Video adoption was very good. And you will see a lot of live streaming that is coming out of China and then, now getting into the rest of the world. So for sure, China digital adoption is fantastic, and we continue to learn from that.
And what lessons from China are you taking to your job in Paris?
The scale of transformation, the pace of transformation.
And is that the one thing that defines the Chinese market, this enormous scale that you have to deal with in the country?
I think Chinese market is such a broad one and, has so many dimensions to it. But for sure, in terms of digital transformation, both the scale and the pace are fascinating.
Now let's talk about where we are. We are sitting in Cannes here on the lovely seaside. What's it like to be back in Cannes?
Look at the massive creative energy that is there here. And it is great for us because for us, I think we are also shaping the future of beauty with a combination of science, technology, and creativity. And it's a perfect moment to be here to express and experience all of that.
So Asmita, let me end on a really personal question. What beauty products do you use? What's your regime like?
I can tell you what I'm using, at least a few of them. So I'm already from head to toe. So I'm using a L'Oreal Professional Metal Detox Shampoo. It's a very, very effective shampoo. I'm using Maybelline Sky High Mascara. I'm here at Cannes, so I'm using a La Roche-Posay UV product. I'm using Yves Saint Laurent lipstick. And then I'm using on my finger and toenails SC nail polish.
So Asmita Dubey, you are like this walking, talking brand ambassador for the L'Oreal stable of brands.
Absolutely, and very happy to be here and very happy to talk to you.
Thank you for being with us on Melt.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You're watching Melt. This week, marketing data and analytics company Kantar released the Global Issues Barometer. The report seeks to understand global issues that are influencing the behavior of the Indian consumer. To know more, we were in conversation with Soumya Mohanty, Managing Director, South Asia Insights Division at Kantar. What's the interplay between the war in Ukraine, the cost of living crisis, and climate change? And most importantly, why should marketers care? Find out as we get ready to melt with Soumya Mohanty. Soumya Mohanty, let's start with a 10,000 feet overview before we dive into the details of your report. What are the biggest concerns for people around the world?
Sure, Suresh. In fact, it's a very interesting report because what we have done is a global survey and there is an India component to it. As expected, the single biggest concern remains the war, and it's much bigger concern across the world than in India, again to be expected because we are not directly impacted by the war. But it's still a concern for us because it impacts cost of living, which is the second biggest concern across the world, the economic situation and the cost of living crisis. And the third concern, which is quite, I found it very strange, is climate inaction, or the changing climate and what it does to us. So I think that's the third biggest concern. Then there is a cluster of smaller concerns where COVID comes up in the second level concern, and then there are other smaller ones. But these are the top concerns that consumers are thinking about across the world.
And do Indian consumers mirror these global concerns, or are the India patterns slightly different?
Yeah, it does. I mean, as I was mentioning, India for Indians, it's cost of living, and the war is a concern because it impacts fuel prices, and that leads to further escalations in cost of living. So that's the single biggest. In India, climate is also a much bigger concern than in rest of the world, which is probably because we are living the climate issue in some sense, and again, that's impacting us. COVID is almost at the same level as rest of the world, so not very different. These are the two concerns where we do significantly differ. Economic concern is again present across the world.
If we were to extract some insights from your report, and I were to ask you, do Indians see their current inflation worries as a transient inflation or a transient phenomenon, or something that's here to stay for good? Are prices going to remain high for good?
Very hard to say, but if I was to connect different data points to answer that question, we are relatively more optimistic. We believe that we are going to get increments ahead of inflation. So that optimism plus our desire not to cut back as much as the global consumer, we are actually saying that we will cut back on our savings and we will work harder, which is a very Indian trait. We'll work harder to probably make more money. and maintain our lifestyle. If I put that, then I would say they do see inflation as a transient phenomena, or rather, they don't want to compromise on their lifestyle till the point they can hold on.
Okay, Soumya, why are Indians so optimistic?
We found that even when we had done the COVID barometer during the peak of COVID, right, everybody was anxious. We were also very anxious, but the optimism was always higher than rest of the world. Couple of points. One is we believe that the future is going to be better. We believe that the talent market is still hot. So we believe the increments are going to be good. We'll get increments that will beat inflation. We also seem to have a little higher confidence in our government. Even on issues like climate, we believe, all of us are in it together. So that probably helps. So that optimism about our own personal situation and the economy and the fact that maybe we believe we are in safe hands make us more optimistic. And I also think, Suresh, we are coming out, our threshold has changed. We are coming out of a phase, and we are not the type of people who like to stay in. And we are the type of people who like to celebrate, who like to be out on the streets. So we are coming out of that kind of a phase.
It's something to do with India and their karmic destiny, or their belief in a higher power or something like that. That's what fuels the optimism, perhaps.
Probably, and just our exuberance, right? The way we want to celebrate festivals, the way we want to just come out and enjoy life, and we're a very aspirational economy. I remember saying this during the COVID barometer days when the question that used to be asked to me always, will there be revenge shopping? Will we come back? We did, right? Because we are extremely aspirational economy, and that is what will help us going forward as well.
Okay, that leads me to my next question, Soumya. We see a major dichotomy in India. On one hand, according to your report, people are cutting expenses on discretionary items, sticking to essentials, food, water, clothing. On the other hand, luxury cars are selling like hotcakes. The companies can't make the cars fast enough. What explains this weird dichotomy? We're cutting back on discretionary items and splurging on luxury cars?
I think there are segments, Suresh. This study is representative of urban India's, and there are segments within urban India. The affluent class is probably still not impacted. And as I said, everyone anyway doesn't want to cut back too much. So when they are asked what they want to cut back, they are saying they'll cut back on discretionary items. But given that there are segments, and given that the impact is going to be different across, it's a lipstick effect, right? Luxury will tend to be a little more resilient. We also saw that when marriage season happened, jewelry just shot through the roof. And that didn't seem to be the case in the run up to that. So we will have both sides going sort of hand in hand.
Is this the dreaded K-shaped recovery, where one part of the economy recovers faster and the other takes much more time?
There seem to be two schools of thought, but I would say it looks like a K-shaped recovery. And there is one size which is going up very, very fast and is very optimistic. Urban, affluent India.
One area where Indian citizens seem very concerned, according to a report like you mentioned, is climate change and climate inaction. Is this largely an urban concern in India? I can't imagine rural India being very concerned about climate change.
Yeah, this is an urban survey and it is a reflection of urban India. But even in urban, Suresh, it is a representative survey of urban India. And I would not have expected Indians to be more worried than global consumer about climate. It's just not a part of our daily conversation. So I think there is something deeper here. I think we are actually facing the challenges of climate change, whether it's pollution in NCR or whether it's unforeseen floods and just the water shortage. I think we are in the middle of it, and that's what is making us concerned about climate. Now, whether we personally are going to pay premium for products that are green doesn't seem so, but we are definitely concerned about it, and we do want to do something about it.
Okay, so that's an interesting insight. We may not necessarily want to pay more for products that are green or seemingly green. So what does this concern about climate change and climate inaction actually mean for Indian marketers in your view?
What it means is the consumer will reward you, not necessarily in terms of premium, but in terms of choice. And so therefore, when we are talking green, we actually want higher energy efficiency, more local technology, and less carbon footprint. Now, all of and more ethical and local sourcing. So all of that should actually lead to more cost efficient products and not actually more premium products. So in that sense, the Indian consumer is quite smart. They are able to connect all this and say, if you're genuinely going to give me something green, why should it be at a premium? It should actually be something that is both value for money and is sustainable.
Make things cheaper and be greener all at the same time. Okay, that's going to be a challenge for both marketers and producers in general. Soumya Mohanty, thank you for talking to us at Melt.
Sure, thanks. Thanks a ton, Suresh. It was a pleasure.
And that's a wrap on this episode. You can follow Melt on social media. The handle is Ready to Melt, or simply log on to readytomelt.com. And if you'd like to follow me, it's @Suvenk on Twitter. Till next week, goodbye and thanks for watching.